Salutations, friends.
Salutations.
Salutations, friends.
Salutations.
My name is Brianna Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar.
I thought it was about time that I preach my piece. Spoiler alert, it's about time.
I'm not a betting girl. That sounds amazing.
I'm listening.
Are you ready?
Salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, also known as the girl who recorded her intro last because she forgot. Because it's just been so long since I've recorded a video. Do not mind my dripping, like, white hair. There's still, like, I got out of the shower right before I started recording. And when I say right before I started recording, I mean, like, I took a shower 3 hours ago. But curly hair takes like 4 weeks to dry, so we're just working with that today. But that's not what you're here for. So most people have heard of the concept of survival instincts in general, but if you haven't, don't worry, I am here and I am about to give you the best lesson you will ever learn in a psychology class. You see, most of us are really only familiar with two, but there are actually 4 F's of survival, and that is fight, flight, feed, and sex. So that's nothing crazy, that wasn't anything new. What I want to talk about is how this is actually implemented in social situations, because humans are social creatures. We need to be able to work with each other to survive. We crave like the attention and the love and affection, but as well, we're participating in all of these like standard social norms, not like major words, like not everyone has to be a visco girl type of thing, but we all in general would prefer it if we didn't kill each other. We participate in those kind of social norms so we can participate, and we abide by those kind of social norms so we can participate in the glorious like benefits that come with being a part of a society, like food and water and the electrical grid, stuff like that. Most people, I've said most people like 80 times and the video's just started, but a lot of people can visualize and can understand when you get into a situation where you're like in a life, it's life or death, man. You've got to decide, like, is it you who survives or is it someone else? Like, imagine you and some stranger are held at gunpoint. You're just trying to chew on my stylus. You and stranger are held at gunpoint. You have to decide, are you gonna push, like, kind of push them in the way and then run for it, save yourself? Or are you going to, like, you try and, like, get in the way, go after the gunman, and that gives the other person the time to escape? And realistically, most people are going to try and save themselves in the best way they can. But what's hindering this is this super, sorry, Nugget's like on the table that my light is connected to, and the light is shaking, but it's not bothering the video, so he can stay. But now, as I was saying, no, you cannot jump on the chair. He's been jumping on this chair all day. He's knocked it over 3 times, and I'm just frustrated. But again, as I was saying, I'm about to have to push him. Nope, you can't stay on the table anymore. Cats, man. But when would you ever feel like you would be in that kind of position socially? Is the question that is going to be posed down in the comment section with all the other doubters that I have. But don't worry about it. If your imagination is failing you, that is what Mama is here for. I got a couple stories for you, okay? Don't worry. This first story, like, I'm gonna need y'all to take it with a couple grains of salt, because I vividly remember reading this article in one of my classes back when I was in college. But I remember reading it. I remember writing a paper on it. But it was something one of my teachers, I guess, photocopied from a textbook she had. I couldn't find my copy there. And when I was looking it up, I could not find this article or anything about the same subject. So again, like, several grains of salt here. But the story is essentially, it goes way back when we were first having like universities and such. probably Harvard, had just introduced like sciences into the school. And at the time, a lot of people were much more interested in liberal arts, like writing, being a journalist, specifically philosophies, stuff like that. That was a far better career choice than sciences were at the time. And so the science majors and those people in those studies were treated very harshly, aggressively, like outcasts, like they were sacrilegious, heretics, stuff like that. And so they were essentially getting like kind of bullied and abused by the rest of the people in the college, until a study came out saying that black people had smaller skulls than Caucasians, and so therefore they were the inferior species. And then after that, sciences were awesome. Everyone loved the scientists. Okay, so I'm gonna do you and explain it in a little bit, but just sit on that while I get into this next story. Story number 2 is one that I actually saw from Trevor Noah. So what happened was, like back probably around like 2015, something around that time, we see Trevor Noah is on this plane. And again, like 2015, we had the Ebola virus, was the big freak out at the time. So he's on this plane, he and one other African guy on the plane, as well as one Muslim man. I swear all of this information is important to the story. They're on this plane. At some point, they're trying to figure out who are the Africans on the plane. And Trevor, he says, because he's light-skinned, people don't assume he's from Africa. So he was kind of getting away with it. But the Muslim man was the only other person that knew that he was from Africa. And Trevor's like, oh, I'm good. Like, he gets it. Because, of course, after 9/11, Muslims got a lot of harsh and unfair treatment. If you haven't heard me talk about this yet, go ahead and check out this video. I put in the iCard that should be popping up right over there. But Muslims got a lot of aggressive and undue treatment after 9/11. And so Trevor's like, he gets what it's like, he understands how this feels, we Gucci. But lo and behold, the Muslim man on the plane was just, he's the one, get him, it's that guy right there. I ain't got nothing to do with him, it's him right over there. Sold Trevor out. And that's what we're talking about today. We live in a society where someone has to be on the bottom. Someone has to be outcasted. Someone has to suffer in order for this society to exist as it stands. And a lot of people are going to pull someone down and sell someone else out if that means clawing themselves up a little bit closer to the top. But Brianna, Trevor Noah is a comedian, and the other story you can't even find. That's fair. So let's talk about a story we all know a little bit too well. Let's talk about the kid that's abused by their parents and then goes to school to be a bully. The kid that's gone through some shit themselves and decides that now they need their turn to feel big. If that sounds familiar, you might be thinking of my 19 and Proud video. It's really a favorite of mine. But that's a little bit too generic, so let's talk about some specific examples of this in real life. I used to work with a girl who, in like middle school and high school, she said she was never really popular, she didn't really have friends, and she just kind of stuck. It was just really her sticking to herself. She stayed at home and then would hang out with her boyfriend, and that's it. Well, when she was an adult, she'd go to work. She was a shift manager there, and she would be just unnecessarily cruel to some of the like kids, the high schoolers that we would hire. She would be rude, and she would go around saying, oh my god, I love being a bully. No, though. That's level 1. Let's get to level 100. So back in high school, I had a friend, and I was actually friends with her, and her boyfriend was actually my best friend. And I was only friends with her because she was the only person I could ever talk to about like my depression, suicide, stuff like that, because she was also going through a lot of that stuff too. And I needed someone to be able to share that with. The issue was, whenever I was with her and her boyfriend together, they would gang up on me, they would make fun of me, harass and attack me. And I told her, hey, like, y'all need to cut it out because you genuinely make me want to kill myself more than back when I actually did attempt suicide. And that's because they were the only two people I had in my life. They were the only two people that said they would care about me, and to have them just treat me like shit for no reason just because it's fun for those two made me feel terrible. And her response when I told her that was, just everyone gets upset, you just need to get over it. And then when I said I just don't ever want to be around you and him together, she would just invite him over without telling me, because, you know, why care about someone? Why be a decent human being to the person you want to call a friend when you can just look out for number one instead? But I want you to take away with this. I don't want you to hate society. I don't want you to be down and distrustful of everyone around you. That's not what I want. I just want you to be aware. I want you to be aware of how your words and how your cruelty can create cruelty in others. I want you to be aware of how deep-rooted a person's need to socially belong really is. That's why it can be so devastating when people are outcasted. That's why you see with cliques and with bullying and stuff how easily that can lead to suicide rates. And I do want you to be aware that this does impact people in a really primal way. And then, of course, I do want you to keep in mind that there are snakes in the grass, so don't get your ass bit. Thank you so much for listening. This is like the first video I've recorded and first couple scripts I've written in a hot second, because like I pre-made a lot of videos for these past couple months because I have been editing a book that's coming out. I'm super excited for it. It's gonna be so much fun. If you want to stay on the forefront of that news and on that information, you should go check out my Patreon account. Link is going to be down below. The first chapter of the book is actually going to be available to all of my patrons. They already actually do have the cover. They've had the cover for a while, so I'm very excited. I love sharing stuff over there with them. If you also want to keep up to date, you can check out my Instagram at Firestorm2343 or at Tormenta de Fuego 2343. One of those would be phenomenal. And other than that, you can also check out my GoodReads. I will be updating, because I do like bi-weekly live streams on books that I'm reading. I do like real-time updates with my reading on GoodReads. If you want to see some live action theorizing, follow me over there, because I post quite a bit on my GoodReads, especially with the Critical Failures, Caverns and Creatures books. I really like them. I really like them. Other than that, I really do hope you guys come check out some more videos, check out the Patreon, all of that, so we can hang out a little bit more. I hope you hang around for the launch of this book, but until next time, Valerations, friends.